Hey everybody, Jason Wright with another episode of ThreatWise TV, and today we're talking about my absolute favorite topic, SecureX. If you don't know what SecureX is, or if you've forgotten and you need a quick refresher, we've got some great videos at cisco.com/go/securex, and of course at cisco.com/go/threatwise. But today we're going to be talking about some of the improvements and additional features that we've added, some really great new capabilities that are going to help give you additional visibility and simplify your workflows. So, Aaron, tell us about this new insights function that we've got for the SecureX platform.
No, absolutely. So with this new feature of SecureX, what we're doing is taking the products that you have integrated or will be integrating into SecureX and providing you new visibility into the endpoints within your organization without having to install additional agents onto those endpoints. So as you can see from the sources in the upper corner, right, it's the integrations and the products that you already have. So your device managers, whether they're Cisco or non-Cisco, your EDR platforms and your security platforms like Umbrella that you already have, right? And then finding that these platforms all have the same endpoints, like this one here that's been seen in Meraki Systems Manager, AMP, Umbrella, Duo, and Orbital, and allowing us to then, look at that endpoint and see a tremendous amount of information about that endpoint that can be used in our investigations, like Ben was showing you, or to get a more holistic view for the positioning of that endpoint within our environment. Does it meet our standards of best practice for the environment itself, right? Details like who has been using the endpoints, where those endpoints are located, their local and their public IP addresses and MAC addresses. You can see here that Windows Security Center is reporting all is good, except that user account controls is not enabled on this endpoint. That 3 security products are registered, Windows Firewall and it's enabled, Microsoft Defender, which is disabled, Cisco AMP for endpoints, which is enabled and up to date, right? But that there is a vulnerability on this endpoint, and that vulnerability has 23 CVEs with a maximum CVSS score of 9.3. I may want to go check that out. We can also see from Cisco Secure Endpoint, formerly known as AMP, right, that our definitions are up to date, the endpoint is not isolated, that Orbital is enabled, which has been giving us some really great information about this endpoint, and I can even pivot to that console. Right, looking further down on that endpoint details, I can see that Umbrella, right, it's been hitting this high security policy, right? The client that's in use is AnyConnect. It could have also been the standalone client. I can see information about the operating system and even pivot over to that Umbrella console for more details or reporting. I can see that in AMP, I've been hitting the Windows policy that's listed here, and that the group is the production group that's listed there. I can also tell from Duo that Duo is telling me that disk encryption is enabled, firewall is on, password status is that it is set, that it is not a trusted endpoint, but that it's running the Duo Health app, and that Duo Health app version is listed here. That the operating system is Windows, that it's been running these different user agents, whether Flash and Java is enabled, right? And I can pivot into the Duo admin console to dive in even deeper and right here with this link. And again, the systems manager from Meraki, which is the device manager managing this endpoint, right, is sending down these tags. It's saying its security policy is compliant, right? And I'd last checked in here, and I can, of course, pivot there. But in addition, I can refresh all this information live from Orbital. I can also take a look at it from a user-centric view, right, and start to say, this user, right, has also been seen on these other devices and other types of devices that can provide that same type of detail, right, iOS, Mac OS, etc., right? And then my inventory, go back to that inventory screen, which does allow us to have very quick filters to say, just show me all the devices that are managed. Show me all the ones that are managed that are also Windows, that are coming from both Orbital and Umbrella as sources. and really fast, really useful interface. And then it's just going to keep getting better from here.
No doubt. And I love seeing this. I mean, you really see the advantage of the platform approach when especially when I saw a few different things. Number one, complete third-party integration and support, being able to pull a lot of information from what those products are doing, even outside of Cisco, but not requiring any additional agent to get this information. This is APIs from those managers coming into SecureX. And then that level of detail where you're not just seeing events that have happened, but actually what policies are being enforced on those endpoints. I thought that level of granularity was very novel and something new that I haven't seen in a lot of products. So this is fantastic stuff, man. Thanks for showing this. But I also know that we've got another whole list of new functionality and new features that I want to pivot back over to you, Ben. Tell us about some of these new items that are coming out, some of the other new things besides this insight that we just had Aaron demonstrate. What else we got?
Sure. There's a couple of additional things that have launched recently or that we're going to be launching soon that I think are worthy of note as well. We've got third-party module simplification. We've got some changes happening in orchestration as well, including a remote relay to allow you to contact on-premise devices for orchestration workflows, and a couple of new orchestration workflows themselves. Let's start with the third-party simplification. Now, when you set up SecureX, you set up certain integration modules, and that's what we're talking about here. And these are the bits of code that talk to our component technologies and bring all that information together, all those capabilities together. Each one is responsible for relaying the information and the capabilities of the endpoint product to which it is connected. That's the model by which all of this works. And so we've got modules set up here for endpoints and CDO and saturation, various other technologies, including third-party technologies like Google Chronicle, Gigamon Threat Insight, URLscan.io, VirusTotal, etc. The way that these are set up is in the process of changing. And if we go to available integration modules, or I might add one right now, we'll see that as I scroll down this list, I get some that say Cisco hosted API void, Cisco hosted abuse IPDB, and so on. These are all hosted internally in SecureX infrastructure. Now, the old model relied on having a relay server that the user or partner was responsible for deploying in AWS or in the DMZ or something like that. We're changing that model now. We're bringing these in-house so that if you want to add something, you no longer have to stand up your own relay server in between to translate between Cisco Threat Intelligence data model and the APIs in SecureX to the third-party data model and the third-party APIs. We're going to host all that for you. And it's as simple as just with any Cisco technology, you click add the module, and then you give it a name, API key. You might want to configure some module-specific parameters, but that's it. And then you're done. And that greatly simplifies. And we're already seeing an uptick in the number of users who are adding these third-party technologies so that you have even more threat intelligence, even more context, even more local security sightings, so that you can make better use of even the non-Cisco technologies that you might have in your environment. One of the things that we like to say is that one of the perks of being a Cisco security customer isn't just that your Cisco security technologies work better together because of SecureX. That's true, but it's not enough. One of the perks of being a Cisco security customer is that even your third-party technologies are going to work better as a result of you being a Cisco security customer. A couple of the, go ahead.
I gotta say, I didn't fully understand it when I was seeing some of the PowerPoint slides when we were talking about it earlier, but now I see what you're talking about. You're taking the onus of setting up the interaction and integration off of the customer and just putting that on Cisco's lap so that all they have to do is implement it. It sounds like it simplifies the deployment of integrating a third-party technology into SecureX. Is that accurate?
That is entirely accurate. And it's even better than that, because the first time when we rolled this out, trying to get to market quickly and trying to let our customers start to take advantage of the incredibly powerful Cisco on Cisco integrations that we were doing. So we said, okay, we can do third-party integrations and we'll do it like this. And then we'll come back and revisit it later. So now it's later, we're revisiting it, and we're bringing these supported integrations in-house. Now these are integrations with partner companies that make these products, or open source groups or whatever it is. And so these are supported, and we are hosting this known good code in the Cisco environment. However, as security professionals, we may all have opinions about letting other people run their own code in your environment, but we want users to have that flexibility as well. And so we're maintaining both models. If you want to write your own relay service to integrate some third-party technology that maybe you made up or that we're just not aware of or not integrating with at this point, you still can. You can write your own. You can host it anywhere you want, any cloud service, your DMZ, you forgotten a laptop under the desk, it doesn't matter. You can still deploy that code in your own environment, and we will talk to it.
Excellent. So tell us about some of the other new functionality and features that we've got.
Sure. The other two things I want to talk about are about orchestration. And the first one is that we've got some new orchestration workflows. And the wonderful thing is that no matter when you're watching this video, that statement is true. We're pumping out new orchestration workflows all the time. My own team is not the only team that does this, and we've released 7 in the last couple of weeks. They're all adding additional automated functionalities and capabilities into your SOC. 2 of the ones that we released relatively recently that I want to talk about specifically are a phishing investigation workflow that handles the first portions of any email-borne threat investigation. And what it does is it checks all of the reputations on any observables in an email that is received into an inbox. And the reason that's the important part is that it demonstrates that we can run workflows off of events that trigger those workflows. You don't have to go into orchestration and click play for the workflow in question. It doesn't have to run on a calendar and check every 5 minutes. Is there a new thing? Is there a new thing? Is there a new thing? No. When an email is received into an inbox, it then kicks off this investigation process that will then catch the majority of low-hanging fruit that comes into most of our investigation inboxes, freeing up our human analysts to look at the threats that maybe don't contain those low-hanging fruits that are a little more interesting and often a little more dangerous. So we're freeing up time for your email security analysts with this one and demonstrating the ability to kick a workflow off of an automated thing that happens in your network. The other one that I want to talk about is very simple. It's a URL for analysis to ThreatGrid, our malware analysis engine, and then it provides a link back to the analysis reports that results. This is not a difficult series of steps to do manually, but the reason we're doing it is that it demonstrates that you can then use these workflows as response actions. So in SecureX, you're doing an investigation, you're looking at something in the ribbon, wherever it is, you get that pivot menu, and you get options, actions that you can take as a result of the technologies that you've got. Well, you can write your own now. You can write these workflows and then use them as response actions. So right now, if you click on a URL and you hit the pivot menu and drops down, you're going to see that there's the option to submit this URL to ThreatGrid for analysis right there from within your SecureX environment. And what that does is just save you a lot of time. If you're doing this on a fairly regular basis, it saves you a lot of time. But if it's something that you can't do simply, as simply as you can submit a URL to ThreatGrid, if it's something that's a little more complicated, perhaps involves multiple technologies, you can package that all up into a single workflow and then have that be triggerable via the pivot menus on the context menus in SecureX. And there's one last thing that I want to talk about, which is the orchestration remote. Now, everything that I've talked about with orchestration works great for cloud-to-cloud communications. SecureX can talk to your Cisco Secure Endpoint Management Console. It can talk to ThreatGrid, that malware analysis platform I was just talking about. What we haven't been able to do historically is get good insight from on-premise devices or to get good response capabilities from on-premise devices, except for those that are mediated through SecureX Threat Response. But now with the orchestration remote, we have this relay channel that can allow workflows to take actions on devices and technologies inside your environment, on your premises, within your network. That's going to be a big changer for our customers. And we're going to, of course, accompany this release with some workflows that demonstrate those capabilities as well, allow you to take actions on ICE and other on-premise devices. And that wraps it up. We've got a couple of great orchestration changes that are coming down the pipe for you to see soon. As well, you can take advantage of those third-party integrations and the increased simplicity that we've introduced into that process right now. That process is currently available.
Just bringing everything together, making this a much more valuable use of time and efficient use of time for SOC analysts to do their discovery, investigation, and response across third-party and our technology. So love seeing that we continue to evolve this platform. If you want to learn more, of course, cisco.com/go/SecureX. We'll have a whole host of information. If you're a Cisco security customer, you can start using this today at security.cisco.com. And then, of course, we've got other videos. If you need a refresher on the intro, a little bit more detail about some of the use cases that we have out there, visit us over at cisco.com/go/threatwise for other Threatwise TV episodes. But for now, I'm Jason Wright. Guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody else out there for tuning into this episode of Threatwise TV.